Hello knitters, I'm Mary Annarella, also known as Lyrical Knits, and you are tuning in to the Lyrical Knitting Podcast. Welcome to episode 5, everybody. This episode I am calling Knitters in Craft Rooms Drinking Coffee, specifically a maple latte. I decided to try and recreate the maple latte that I had at a coffee shop over Rhinebeck weekend, and it was delightful. And basically all I did, I guess this is technically not a latte because it's not espresso that I have in here. I just heated up half of a cup of coffee and I steamed some milk in this little Nespresso milk frother that I really, really like and treated myself to about a year ago. It steams milk really well. And then I pour the steamed milk in, and then I drizzle just like a teaspoon of maple syrup on top. Yes, it is real maple syrup that I use. I live right next door to Vermont, people. There is no way I'm getting fake maple syrup. Only 100% real maple syrup will do. Plus, Massachusetts produces a lot of maple syrup as well. So there are maple sugar houses and maple sugar businesses all over my valley. So I'm doing my part to keep them in business by drinking a maple latte, and yeah, it's really good, really good. Anyhow, so I'm drinking coffee in my classroom, in my craft room, in my studio up on the 3rd floor of my house, and I have some new yarn storage, and I've been reorganizing my stash and spending quality time with my stash, which is so much fun. I love spending time with my pretties. But you may notice that I have some yarn shelving back here that I got over Christmas break, and it is not the IKEA calyx. It's really, really similar. This is actually the Better Homes and Gardens version of it. I ended up not going with the IKEA one because shipping is so expensive with IKEA. So I was able to order the one online. I don't live really close to an IKEA, so I can't just drive over there and avoid the shipping, but it was something like, you know, like on like a $120 shelf, it was like $140 for shipping. So I thought, no, I'll find something else. The only disappointment about this one is that those deep sweater boxes from the Container Store don't fit in these. They are just this much too big. They would fit, but the feet on those boxes make it so that I cannot even cram them in there. It just doesn't work for me. So what I did is I ordered these little drawers so that I can store things in there, and I'll use some other shelving that I have that those deep sweater boxes work for. But anyhow, I've been playing around with like, how do I want to arrange this, and what do I want to leave out, what needs to be in boxes and the like. But before I decide where everybody's gonna go, I just thought I'd see how it looks on the shelves, because it's so pretty. I mean, look, blue and purple and pink and more blue and more purple and sea glass from Tosh and more blue and purple. I like my brights. I like my jewel tones. So yeah, I have kind of sort of culled the herd a little bit. I've sort of KonMari'd the stash. I know it's January. Well, no, it's February. Oh my gosh. It's after the holidays, and so the world is KonMari'ing their house and decluttering, and I've actually done a bit of that in my wardrobe and a little bit of that in my stash, but let's face it, people, it all sparks joy. All of it. I mean, I'm holding this yarn and it's sparking joy. I'm feeling the love. I'm totally feeling the love with this purple. Oh my gosh, I love this purple. This is Traveler Base from Dragonfly Fibers that I got at Rhinebeck last year, and the colorway is Jocelyn. I'd say it's really close to Woolmize's Fleeterbush, or Petite Poison number 5, maybe, but just a really deep reddish purple, and I love it. I'm going to turn it into something someday, I promise. But until then, it's still sparking joy, so it stays. Alright. So that's what I've been up to. I took a bit of a break from podcasting and even designing for the month of January. The holidays really wiped me out, and I hosted Young Scrappy and Cozy Mystery Knit Along for the month of January, and so that really, that took up a lot of my time and energy, and it was so much fun that I decided to just enjoy it and not be worrying about what the next project was going to be, what the next publication was going to be. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do some self-care. I'm going to rearrange my stash. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to have fun talking about knitting online, and I just needed to take a little bit of a break from designing, not from knitting, but from pressuring myself to get another pattern out or put up another tutorial. So now that it's February, I've decided to, I've got the energy to come on back, and so we're podcasting again. So I've been reorganizing my stash. I have been wearing hand knits like crazy because it is so freaking cold out. The past 2 days in the Northeast, we don't have the polar vortex over us like the upper Midwest, like Minnesota and Chicago do. So it was not like a low of -21. We had lows of like -10 and a high of like 4 2 days ago. I'm talking Fahrenheit, not Celsius. I wish I were talking Fahrenheit because that would feel really balmy. Today it's getting up to, I think, 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. So there you go, and that feels like a heat wave right about now. So it's been really cold here. I have been wearing all the hand knits, including this one. What I'm wearing right now is Knit Me With Your Best Shot. Yeah, Knit Me With Your Best Shot. And this is knit in Kenzie. Let me show you. See how it's got it has a faux cable on just the front. And the sleeve is actually a modified raglan. It's not just a straight up raglan where the seams are like this. I have it so that it sort of starts off as a little bit more of a saddle shoulder so that it stays on the shoulders a little bit better, and then becomes a traditional raglan, and then almost more like a set-in sleeve down along here before it finally curves down into the armpit. So yeah, I really love this one. And it's got a split hem to it. And I wear a long underwear camisole underneath it to keep really warm. But it's really been doing the job. I find that when it's really cold out and the house is even chilly, I mean, the past couple of days, the heat was just constantly working and the furnace was constantly on trying to keep the house warm. But I live in an old house, and some of the outer walls, I would put my hand on the wall and I would be like, it's cold. It's really cold outside. And I find, that on the coldest days of the winter, at least in New England, that if I wear a really big oversized sweater, like the drop shoulder that comes down to here and is, really big and oversized, that I don't stay warm. And I think it's because, they're so wide. Like if your sweater is out to here on you, there's all this room here for air to just whoosh right up, and my whole torso was getting cold. Even though I had a long underwear shirt on underneath, all that air just kind of goes right up. I find that when it's the coldest, that if I have a sweater on that is somewhat close to the body, that just comes in here, that insulates me really well. So I tend to stay warmer in a slight, and I wouldn't even call this sweater fitted. It's probably fitted compared to a lot of oversized sweaters, but this actually has some positive ease to it, at the bust, at the waist, at the hips, everywhere. So not something tight, but just something that's not really big, and it keeps me warmer better. So I've been wearing stuff like this most of the past month. In a few days, we're supposed to be getting up to like 50 degrees, which is bizarre. That just feels really weird to me to, 2 days ago have a high of 4, and a week later we're going to be 50 degrees warmer than that. That is really strange, but hey, global warming, climate change means extremes apparently, and it's like, okay, but hopefully we'll have some sun and 50 degrees because that'd be really nice to just be outside. It's been a while since I've seen the sun. Oh. Anyhow, I thought I would report to you all on Vogue Knitting Live in New York City. It was really fun, and I wasn't going to be able to go for a couple of family reasons and the like, and then about 4 days before Vogue Knitting Live opened, I decided, okay, I can go. I have some time. I'll just find a hotel room. And I found a hotel room that was right off of Times Square that was really close to the Marriott Marquis, right off of Times Square, which is where Vogue Knitting Live is held. So I went down, had a wonderful time. A lot of you saw me Instagramming about it, but I thought I would show you all what I picked up at Vogue Knitting Live. Like I said, I stayed right across the street from the Marquis Marriott, which was also right across the street from Hamilton in the Richard Rogers Theater. So I got to take a couple of selfies in front of the Hamilton Marquee, and that was really fun. And don't worry, I will show you guys later on my young Scrappy and Cozy, because I promised you guys I would show you my finished object and how to wear it and style it. But first, I want to show you guys what I got at Vogue Knitting Live. I really didn't buy that much, so just a few things. Like, I picked up a skein of this from Primrose Yarn. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I have been in love with mauve lately. And now this one, so we've got like some pinkish mauve here and darker going to purple there. But I just think this skein is absolutely gorgeous. And I just thought I would give it a try. It's Primrose Yarn. The base is Sophia. And the colorway is Barley Wine on the Sophia base. And the Sophia base is a merino cashmere nylon base. This is a fingering weight, and I'm thinking I might just do a cowl that is similar in shape to Young Scrappy and Cozy, and you guys will see that in a little bit. But just in this lighter weight yarn, this is fingering, and just something that makes use of one skein of yarn that's just really pretty and you can't figure out what to do with it. At least that's the dilemma I'm in with this. It's like, wow, it's so pretty. What do I do with you, my pretty? I love you. But it's so soft. And I think it'll look really nice with a lot of gray sweaters that I wear. So I got the Primrose Yarn. I got bitten by the mohair bug, or at least the mohair silk bug, which is kind of funny because mohair has always made my hands itch when I knit with it. At least in the past it did, and it made me itch to wear it. Like, if I find a merino mohair blend, I can always tell what they are because I can always tell that there's some mohair in there because the mohair just takes the dye like whoa, and it glows, but it always scratches me. But I had ordered a skein of Fiber Artist merino silk, and I've been carrying it along with a skein of Tosh Merino Light, and it feels really soft to me. So I thought, you know what? It's not making my hands itch. Maybe it's the quality of the mohair. Maybe the mohair that I've been knitting with in the past has shorter hairs to it or something, or was just a different quality, or maybe it doesn't work when it's spun with merino for me. But regardless, I've been fine with it, and it just feels so soft. So I got some mohair, and I thought, okay, I was at Neighborhood Fiber Company. They had a booth at Vogue Knitting Live, and I've always been overwhelmed by their colors. There are so many that I love that I couldn't choose which one to get. Have you ever had that trouble? Like, there are so many beautiful colors that you just freeze up because you're like, I don't know if I want this purple or that purple, or this blue or that blue, or the blue or the yellow. Oh my gosh, look, there's Grello. Look at that green. And then I get overwhelmed. But this time I decided, okay, I am not going to get overwhelmed. I'm just going to pick out one skein of their single. It's just a single fingering yarn, single ply. This colorway is what? What is it? This is their rustic fingering, and this is colorway Amy Sherald. Amy Sherald. I'll explain the name in a minute. But I got a coordinating skein, mini skein of the mohair. So I thought between the two of these, maybe I'd do another cowl. you know, a substantial sized cowl, and I would coordinate either knitting these two together or having sections of just the rustic fingering and then sections of just the mohair. Okay, so this is a skein of Amy Sherald, and this is, I ended up pairing it not with Amy Sherald, but the name of this colorway in the mohair is David Hess. Hess or Haas? David Hess, H-E-S-S. But they pretty much look like the same colorway to me, and I had a lot of fun picking these out with the people who were working at the Neighborhood Fiber booth. I really appreciate that they put up just small amounts of mohair, because sometimes, you know, if you want to buy some hand-dyed mohair, you have to buy this humongous skein, and that always feels like I don't know if I want to make a sweater with this, so it's nice that they make mini skeins. Oh, the names. Okay, so the colorway name here is Amy Sherald, and the colorway name for this one, even though, wow, they are really close to each other, is David Hess. And so I asked the dyer, I'm like, so who is David Hess? Is this somebody that I'm supposed to know? And I don't know who they are. They're an Instagram celebrity or something, like, I don't know, like Kim Kardashian, and I don't know who this person is, and who is this, you know, Amy Sherald as well, is I don't know. And the dyer said that what she likes, she has a project where she is featuring artists that are local to her. Neighborhood Fiber Company is based in Baltimore, Maryland, and so she is working on a project where she's naming, she's creating colorways based on the artwork of local artists to her. So I just thought that was absolutely amazing. I mean, what a wonderful thing to do, that she's promoting other artists, painters and sculptors. So now, you know, we can all go home and look up who Amy Sherald is and what their art is, and we can look up David Hess and see what their art is. So I thought that was a really neat project and really true to the neighborhood in Neighborhood Fiber Company's business. So I thought that was really great. They're keeping the neighborhood in neighborhood fibers. So this might be a cowl. We'll see. Then I was in another booth, and this was actually my first purchase of the day, because I saw these kits in the... That bag is making way too much noise, isn't it? I'll talk first and then I'll open it up. But I went by the Woolen booth. W-O-O-L-I-N, not Woolen with a Y, that's in the New York City, Brooklyn area, but Woolen from Ireland. And this is, their brand is called Townhouse Yarns, and I got to meet the dyer there as well, and I ended up buying this kit. Look at those colors. Again, it's the mauve thing. It's like, I'm getting really attracted to dusty purples going on into mauve. Okay, this bag is making so much noise, I'm just going to take the skeins out and toss the bag down here. Here we go. So you guys can see these pretties. There we go. But they are two skeins of single ply fingering weight and the same colorway in the mohair silk. Maybe it's just the silk that's added to the mohair that really makes it possible for me to knit with it, or makes it feel so soft, but I continue to be shocked. I can hold this mohair up against my neck and I won't get a rash, and it's not scratching me. So that's amazing. But I got this kit from them, and they said that they actually, if I design something with this, like I'm thinking a shawl, that they would be happy to do kits for people and pre-orders. So I have some fun plans here for spring on into summer. But oh, these colors, they just sing to me. Here, I have to hold it up for you one more time. The colorway is Vault, V-A-U-L-T, Vault. I don't know. I didn't see any other colorways called balance beam or trampoline, so I don't know if it's a gymnastics thing or a vault. They're locking this colorway is so gorgeous and wonderful that they lock it up in a vault to make sure no one steals it. I don't know, but oh my gosh, these are just gorgeous, and I'm crazy about them. That is all I got for yarn at Vogue Knitting Live. I squished a lot. But you know, I spoke with a lot of dyers. We might do a collaboration coming up. And as a designer, I don't want to bother dyers and talk about collaborations at a big yarn show. I mean, they're there to sell yarn. I'm just there, you know, if I'm not going to buy yarn at their booth, I just want to give them my card and take their card, see what their colorways are all about, like what's their colorway vibe, talk with them, get to know them, but only if they have time and their booth is not like overrun with people. So, I mean, they're there to sell yarn. I can chat with them later about a possible collaboration in designing with their yarn. But these yarns here, I'm like, I have to have them. I want them for me. And so I picked them up. Some other things that I picked up for myself that were not skeins of yarn. I happened upon a booth. Oh gosh, I forget whose other booth it was actually in, but let me show you the tag. The tag is Wee Ones, and these are just some stitch markers that I got. Apparently, this artist was at Rhinebeck, and I totally missed their booth. I don't know how I did that, but I was talking with her. She's like, yeah, I was at Rhinebeck. I'm like, where? How did I miss you? But she does stitch markers with little tiny Fimo clay figures, like these little sheep. Can I hold this up here? Look at that. Isn't it adorable? And oh, I got one gray sheep too. Very, very cute. And they're the no snag kind, and I like that. Yeah, can we? Here we go. Yeah, so they're the no snag kind. But she had, gosh, she had so many different animals you could buy. Little sloth stitch markers with little teeny pieces of Fimo clay shaped into sushi. Hedgehogs, and she had different dogs and different breeds of cats. Like you could get calico cats, you could get black and white cats, you could get all black cats, you could get white cats, you could get Siamese cats, all dangling from these little no snag stitch markers, and all these different kinds of dogs. They had corgis and the like, and then that's when I found one that looked just like my dog. Can I hold this up here? This looks so much like my little puppy. It looks so much like Melody. My dog's name is Melody, and this pretty much looks just like her. She's part Bichon Frise and part Shih Tzu, and I think this dog is probably intended to be a Shih Tzu. So, but yeah, Melody, or Mel as I call her, is half Bichon Frise and half Shih Tzu, so I call her a bijou. Or a Shih Tzu, depending on the day. Don't judge me. But I'm so excited because now I have stitch markers that look like my dog. My dog who is sleeping downstairs. I did make one more purchase in the marketplace, and I stopped by the Toft booth. Toft designs a whole bunch of little crocheted animals, and that's what's on their little bag right here. But they also carry those pom-poms that are made from alpaca that are unbelievably soft, and I swear I don't want to use any other pom-pom ever again. And I may have gone a little crazy buying all kinds of pom-poms from them. Oh my gosh. They are so incredibly soft. They had a deal, they give you a discount if you bought 5, so I thought, I'll be making 5 hats between now and next year for sure, and they will all get a pom-pom. These, I did not find any giant ones like the one that I put on the Marion Bright, or not Marion Bright, Making Spirits Bright hat. did find that one. And a gray one. And a beige one. I'm going to love this one. And I thought, okay, well, I should have a black pom-pom too, because I might make a hat that would need a black pom-pom. But mostly I just want to cuddle these. I want to, like, you know, stuff my shirt with. Oh my gosh, it looks like Mary's growing a little chest hair there. I'm getting a little punchy, a little silly. What's in that coffee Mary's drinking? And this blue one that they obviously dye. These are all natural colors from a white, off-white, gray alpaca, black alpaca. These ones are dyed, and the dyed ones actually come with a snap. So you sew the snap onto your hat, and they have sewn the other part of the snap right onto the pom-pom. And I think I might do that with these ones as well, because I just think that's a good system. If you want to wash your hat, you don't want to wash the pom-pom too. I mean, I wouldn't even hand wash this. I'd just shake it out. But you could take it off when you're going to wash the hat. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll get a blue one. That, you know, might not look too silly. Here we go. Can I sit there like this with the pom-pom on my head the entire podcast? Let's not find out. Alright. And they gave me this nice little tote bag, or a drawstring bag, so I can use it as a project bag, or I could pass it on to someone. Oop, got a feather or something on me there. Alright. But that's really nice. Although I will say that I'm getting to the point where, I mean, so many places are giving you tote bags when you make a purchase from them that I have a lot of drawstring bags and tote bags now. So I might want to just use my own reusable bag from now on, even when I make yarn purchases. But this one is really pretty nice, and I like the little animals on it. So we got that. Okay. Oh, what I'm knitting. I have been knitting, and I've been frogging things, but let me show you what I've got so far. This is actually the mohair sweater that I was talking about. It's one strand of mohair silk from Fiber Artist, here it is, and one strand of a coordinating color of Tosh Merino Light, which is a rustic single ply merino fingering weight. I really love how it's knitting up. I'm actually knitting it inside out. This design is going to be the purl side out, but who wants to purl an entire sweater in the round? Not this girl. This is also the one that I had to change my plans for. I had initially thought, oh, I'm going to put a little simple cable on here that I really like with bobbles, and it just didn't work with this yarn. It looked okay in my swatch, but when I put it on the whole sweater, I was just like, no, I'm not feeling it. So I had to rip it out, which also included frogging 12 bobbles, which was not fun. It took me a while to recover from it. And after I did it, someone actually sent me, I talked about it on Instagram, and someone sent me a tip that if you want to frog anything with mohair, it's easier if you put your knitting in the freezer first. That it makes the mohair less sticky. So if I have any more serious frogging to do, I will try putting my sweater in the freezer first. But this is really soft, and I'm really liking the fabric. When I hold the yarn double like that, I get about 20 stitches to 4 inches there. So like a typical worsted weight, but it's very light and not what I'd call see-through. So it's a substantial fabric, but it's light and drapey, and I love drape. Speaking of drape, I have been draping my new cowl around my neck, the Young, Scrappy, and Cozy Mystery Knit Along, and the mystery has been revealed. All 4 clues have been out. The last clue has been out for over a week now, so I thought I'd show you all. It is made with one kit of a Miss Babs Yowza Mini Trio. I had bought a pack of those trios at Rhinebeck this past October. So this wasn't yarn support, but I have a business relationship with Miss Babs, and they often do provide yarn support with me, but for me. But this time I bought it myself and decided I would just knit up some sort of cowl for it. But here it is. Here we are. Here is my cowl. Young, Scrappy, and Cozy. Here we go. It is a Hamilton themed knit along, and so I refer to the show in the pattern, and we have a Hamilton star down at the bottom. Well, it's just a star, but Hamilton features a star, so I thought I would feature a star on the cowl, and just a couple of words, just 1 and 2 word phrases from the show, like work, looking for a mind at work. So I put that up on there, although a lot of people just totally skipped the words and only put these little knitted slip stitch dots there. But I called these dots A dot hams, and these were E dot hams for Eliza, and these little stars here, I call them 4-star generals or just star generals. But rise up also, so we're staying away from any longer lyrics than that, because I do not want to violate copyright infringements, but you can't copyright a single word or a 2-word phrase. So I checked it out with a lawyer who said, nope, you're good. So work and rise up. But how are we going to wear this? Okay, a lot of people have commented, oh, this looks a lot like the Shift Cowl by Andrea Mowry, and it does from this point of view. I think it's kind of similar because a lot of people are using slip stitch patterns now, and this one does, but mine actually looks like a tooth. You see that? Kind of funny, like a tooth. And the way I wear this is that I take one of the points, and I like to wear the star side facing forward. Oh, and the reason that this is shaped like a tooth, you get one small point in the back and one point in the front, and I really like that. I think it looks really great over a sweater or even a coat when you wear it that way. So what I do is I put it on with one of the points in the front. That doesn't look very flattering. I floof my hair out of the way. We floof. And I take one of the points and I just set it down, you know, maybe not pointing straight down like this, but just a little off to the side, covering one of the girls a little bit. And then I just fix it so the point in the back is straight and not bunched up. There it is, back there. And then the rest, okay, it's all bunched, and I said online that I kind of floof it. What I do is, okay, I go in and pull this part and go in here, and I just pull that out just a little bit. And then pull it down here. And I think this looks really great just as is, just like that. Can I stand like this? Yeah. Or I can turn it just a little bit more, just like that. Yeah. So again, it kind of went on like that. This doesn't look very flattering, no. You could tuck it in that way if you want. Tuck it in all the way around your neck. But either way, I like to, let's do this again. I like to reach in to the part that's folded under here and pull those parts out a little bit. So pull those out. And I'm pretty happy with the way this looks right now. If you're really cold outside, you could maybe, going outside, you could maybe fold it over like that. A few people were like, oh, is it wide enough to, you know, to stay up if I hold it over my face? And I'm saying, no, it's not. This is 26 inches in circumference. It's not meant to be close to the neck like that. But what you could do, if you like, is you could put like a little crochet loop right here and a button someplace else so that you could always button it if you like that. Or, you know, hold it up here and you could always, you could button it. It looks a little bit like a bandana. Okay, so now I've messed it up again. Let's do this one more time. I'm going to reach in to the part that's folded in that's closest to my neck. I'm going to reach in there too, and I'm just going to pull. And I'm going to tuck all this other stuff in like that. Right? Now what I like to do is go down here and maybe pull that a little bit too. All right, now I'm not liking it how it's flopping around in my neck quite like that, so I kind of want to tuck that in just a little bit as well. There we go. I think that looks really nice and really cozy. Oh my gosh, I mean, because this is a DK weight yarn, and it's not stranded, but it's doubly thick because you're carrying the yarn behind it too. So it's a little thicker than just, you know, knitting with a single color. So it's really pretty warm. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, whew, it's getting warm wearing this inside. So this is really great when it's cold out, and I love wearing it over a coat too. So really fun. I think I'll keep it on for a little bit. It's really nice. And have a sip of coffee. My last bit. There's not much left. Gives me the coffee, it gives me the strength to get up and do the things that need to be done. There we go. All right. So that's Vogue Knitting Live, the stuff that I got there, and the Mystery Knit Along Young, Scrappy, and Cozy. I'm really liking wearing this, and I'm loving my colors. Something that I wanted to address in this podcast, because there's been a conversation going on all over Instagram and through Ravelry as well, talking about racism and diversity and inclusion in the fiber world. And so I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about that. I am not an expert on racism at all, but I wanted to make a statement about the conversation that has been going on and continuing, and saying that I'm glad that we are having this conversation. I talked about it a little bit in a couple of my Instagram posts, and I think I probably said it better in the second post too than I can even say now, because I'm kind of nervous and I tend to fumble over my words when I'm live. But I wanted to say that I would encourage everyone to go through some of the posts on Instagram that people are sharing and see what's going on in the fiber world, and listen. Most importantly, listen to people's stories about how they have felt left out in the fiber world. There is a thread on Ravelry as well, and I'll post a link to that thread that was heavily moderated because Casey and Jess wanted to make sure that the conversation stayed on task and didn't, take all these tangents. But go through and read that thread, because I think it's really important to listen to other people's voices who have different experiences from what you do, from what I do. But mostly, I just wanted to make a statement and say that after listening for a while, listening to voices of people who have different experiences in life than what I do, people of color who experience life in a very different way than I do as a very privileged white person, white lady, that I want to live my life and run my little pattern writing business in a way that people of color and ethnic minorities feel both welcome and wanted in my little corner of the world and in the fiber world at large. So that when anybody walks into a knitting store, a yarn shop, let's say, no one should have to feel self-conscious that no one's helping them because of the color of their skin, or because of the way they look, because of who they are. I know that for myself, I have gone into yarn stores where no one talked to me, where the shop owner didn't say hello. I mean, we're talking tiny shops where there was a knitting group going on and no one even acknowledged that I was there. As a white person, I can just assume that they were being jerks or that they've got this little insulated thing and they really didn't care much about customer service. I mean, when I go into a yarn store, I want to talk about yarn. I want to touch all the yarn. I want to get excited about the yarn. I want to talk with the shop owner and see what their vibe is and what their feelings are about yarn. Do they knit? Do they crochet? Do they weave? Let's talk about our craft. And to go into a store and have people just completely ignore you like that, I just find really weird. But here's the deal, that for me, as a middle-aged white lady, I don't have to think to myself, wow, I wonder if they didn't talk to me or if they were staring at me because of the color of my skin. That's part of my white privilege, and I don't want anyone to have to feel that way when they come into my world. That if I'm in a yarn shop, I want everyone to feel welcome and wanted anywhere that I am. And in my little podcast here, this is just kind of a small community that we have here. I want everyone to feel welcome and for no one to feel excluded. I may make mistakes along the way, and I hope that people call me out on that if I do say something that's hurtful, because if I say something that hurts somebody, I want to know about it so that I can make a change and do better next time. And I'm getting all emotional now. I'm starting to cry because everything makes me cry these days. Ever since I had kids, I cry very easily. And especially now, I guess, when I'm talking and listening to people about things that are very dear to the heart. But most importantly, my intention is to help create a world where everyone feels welcome, and that especially people of color and racial minorities know that you are welcome here in this, my little corner of the world, my third floor yarn store, I kind of call it. And I don't know what kind of action will lead to that, but I am listening and I am reading and I am hopefully learning and hopefully moving forward on my journey to a more inclusive fiber world. And I think that the yarn world is a microcosm of society at large, so we shouldn't be surprised to know that people experience racism in the yarn community. But like I said, this is a microcosm of society at large, so we're going to find it here, and so I'm glad that we are talking about it. We can still keep knitting, and we can still keep having this conversation, and I will still keep listening. So I don't know if any of this stream of consciousness has made much sense, but I'm working on it. I'm listening. I'm supporting you, and I'm hopefully learning more and hopefully doing better as a person. That's about all for now. If you like what you heard today, go ahead, click subscribe. I'll put some links down in the description below for some things that I was showing you, and the thread on Ravelry that I wanted y'all to know about. And I hope you have a great February. I hope you have a great week, and keep on knitting. Bye-bye.